What up, homies? Guy here, looking to talk to you about the most common and the biggest disqualifiers when it comes to buying home insurance. Now, I will say first and foremost that there can be varying reasons of why a home insurance carrier will not insure you. But I'm going to be talking about the most common, the ones that you kind of have control over. So that way we kind of know. Again, these are all for educational purposes. And please, if you're new to the channel, hit that like button and subscribe button. Hit the little notification so you know when new videos come out. So let's jump right into it. So the first thing, and this is probably the biggest one of what's going to disqualify you from getting home insurance, is the ages of certain characteristics of your home. The biggest one being the age of your roof. Now, even if you have an old roof, doesn't mean you can't get home insurance, but the field of your availability of who is going to be available shrinks dramatically once you reach certain thresholds. So the first threshold and the biggest one is going to be, probably the smallest one is about 10 years. Now, you're still probably going to have about 90% of carriers that will try to insure you, so you should be okay. 15 years is the next threshold. That probably shrinks down to about 60 to 70% of carriers that will do it. Now, the biggest one, and after this, it just doesn't really matter because after this threshold, you're just going to have like a very slim pickings, maybe 10%, maybe 20 years. So each of those are different thresholds for, who's going to insure me or not. Again, doesn't mean you won't be able to find insurance if you have a 20-plus-year-old roof. Just means it becomes a lot harder and the availability of carriers becomes a lot smaller. Now, you might be asking yourself, why does that matter? So it really comes down to this. An insurance carrier looks at the age of the roof as a potential risk, and that's really all insurance is viewing the risk. It's a risk of if something happens to an older roof, let's say it's 20 plus years, the insurance company is going to say, okay, it's going to be cheaper to replace the entire roof and put a brand new roof on there instead of potentially keep fixing these issues that are going to keep happening because it's an older roof. So they would rather replace the whole entire roof, let's say due to wind or hail even, replace the entire thing and just put a brand new roof on there. Because of that, that's why an insurance carrier will not, or must say not, most insurance carriers will not insure a house with a 20-plus-year-old roof because the mentality is if something happens to that roof, we're going to need to replace the whole entire roof. But that's what it pretty much breaks down to. Now, the second thing I want to talk about of what's going to be a big disqualifying factor for a house, claims and claims history. Now, I have this conversation almost every single time when it comes to somebody who has a claim for homeowners in their claims history. Now, most people aren't going to know this until they unfortunately go through it, but having a claim on your claims history dramatically changes a couple of things. It dramatically changes your acceptability. There are a ton of home insurance carriers that will not insure you if you even have one claim, just one, and the ones that will insure it, you got to keep in mind, if they do insure it, even if you do have a claim, your rates are going to be affected by that. Now, again, most people unfortunately are not going to learn that until they unfortunately make a claim and then their rates go up. And then they're like, oh, well, I'm going to shop around. Oh, well, you thought it was going to be easy, but how many people are going to turn you away because you have the one claim? Yeah, that is a really, really big one. Now, again, that's not true for every single carrier. There are some carriers like HomeSite is one carrier that are pretty accepting of most circumstances of homes. I really like that carrier because there are a lot of other carriers that won't accept homes or even dog breeds that HomeSite will. HomeSite is a very accepting, very relaxed when it comes to acceptability for home insurance. Pretty good company for that. I don't work for them. It's just one of the carriers I work with. But claims history is another big disqualifier. Just honestly, between those two things, those are probably the most common disqualifying factors that disqualify a lot of people from home insurance, or at least minimize the field of availability for carriers. There again, there's tons of other reasons you can get disqualified. Maybe you have polybutylene plumbing. That can disqualify you. Plumbing is another big thing that can disqualify you. The ages of your wiring, the ages of your plumbing, the ages of your heating and cooling. Again, not every carrier will disqualify you, but again, it just, I guess, makes the field smaller for who's going to be available for those things. Again, there are so many other things that can disqualify you. Some carriers have their own little nuances, like Nationwide. Let's take Nationwide, for example. Nationwide, let's say you had some bad luck, or say bad luck. Let's say you just were being bad and you have a felony in the past 10 years. Nationwide will not even quote you if you have a felony, or anybody else in the household has a felony. Just some kind of random stuff like that. Let's say Progressive. Progressive, if you had a 2-layered or more than 2-layer roof, they won't insure the house. Let's say you have sinkhole settlement or cracking damage somewhere like in your driveway or in the foundation of your house, they won't insure it. Let's take QBE. QBE is another big one. They won't insure a house if you have aluminum wiring or knob and tube. Actually, a lot of carriers won't do that. Let's be honest. There's a lot of carriers that won't do the electrical. Either way, my point is there are some very big factors that are kind of across the board, but even within the carriers themselves, there's a lot of nuances of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. Best thing to say that I would say is just ask questions. That's the biggest thing that I think kind of fumbles up people, is they're not willing to ask questions. And don't get me wrong, I know it's a subject that not a lot of people are comfortable with, and that's the point of this channel, is to try to enlighten people, to help people buy home insurance, so it makes it easier and you feel empowered going through this process. But that's going to do it for this video. Please, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button down below. Hit the little bell and the notification, so whenever new videos come out, you can see when they come out. Again, the comment that gets the most likes down below, if it's a question about home insurance, I will make a special video dedicated to that to help answer those questions. And let's just keep that going. You know what I mean? All right. Have a good day, homies. What did I just say? Have a good day, homies. Oh, have a good rest of your day. Later.